Welcome everybody to another episode of Buried Pleasures. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Pollyanna Amazing, and today I'm almost fangirl geeking over here over my guest. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Ngaio.
Ngaio.
Damn.
Like one rooster. Ngaio.
Ngaio.
If you speak Spanish, Ngaio. One cock. One rooster.
I love it. Ngaio. Welcome to Buried Pleasures. Thanks for joining me. And how are you this morning, by the way?
I remain delicious. Thank you. I got my chemicals balanced. It's a beautiful gray morning in Sacramento. Nice and ugly, as a friend of mine used to say.
I don't feel bad for you because I'm in the Seattle area and it's
Listen, everyone in Seattle is always snows, and it snows there every year, and then they all freak out and forget that they've had to drive in it last year.
It's terrible business, but I think the problem that I have the most is that people here must come from California or other places that they don't know how to drive in snow.
No. Listen, and I say this with love and respect.
Yes.
The state of Washington has the worst drivers I've ever seen in my life, and I've driven all over this country and in other countries. And the state of Washington is hands down, collectively, the worst group of drivers.
I'll agree.
I'm not saying that you are a bad driver, although you've probably been in Washington long enough that your driving skills have eroded.
No, really, honestly, I drive to work and back, and that's about it.
Right? Don't give them any time. Stay off the road. Don't give them a chance to hit you.
Oh, that's right. Especially during inclement weather because people can't drive. But anyway, past all that, we are both on the West Coast this morning, loving the gray skies, apparently. And so we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. So tell me and the people out there that may not know who the heck you are, and I don't know who they may be, but tell us who you are. What do you do?
I'm an Aquarius with a Libra rising and a Virgo moon, if that helps anybody. I am a stand-up comedian and an activist and a writer. I had a show on Netflix. I was on a show on Netflix called Cooking on High. I'm the host for the International Cannabis Business Conference series. We'll be in Barcelona and Berlin and Zurich in 2022. And you may have seen me at a comedy club or two, or a nightclub or a bar, depending on where you live.
Well, fantastic.
Right? It's not bad.
Not bad. I mean, if you were going to wake up one day and say, this is my life, that's not a bad life, right?
Every once in a while when I'm standing backstage at a weed festival, smoking weed with celebrities or shaking Willie Nelson's hand, I'm like, this is not bad for a little nerd kid from the hood. Right? Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Sure. We can all use $100,000 more, but other than that.
Yeah, money's money, but making good friends is even better. I think
experiences.
What we're here
for. We're here for experiences. Life is meant to be lived. Kurt Vonnegut had a whole thing one time where he was talking to his wife. He's like, I need some stamps. I'm going to walk down the street, buy some stamps. And she goes, well, you could just order them online. He goes, no, what I mean is I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to pet a dog. I'm going to bump into a homie. I'm going to chop it up with a stranger. I might get a bagel, blah, 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 blah. The stamps are just the excuse to get out and fart around, right? That's what he said. We're put on this earth to fart around. And I kind of agree with him in that.
That's an absolutely amazing observation of how the world should be. And
of course, it's easier to do if you've written a series of best-selling books and you have a little bit of money to rely on.
Or just have really wealthy friends. I mean, that's also...
Yeah. How much money do you have? Are we going to be friends?
Oh, totally. We're friends. We're friends already. The moment you text me Woot, and for all those people out there who know me very well that I text Woot on a daily basis.
I'm good for texting a Woot. I'll text a Woot. I'll text a Yee. I'll text a Woot Woot.
Woot. That's right.
Listen, once I press Woot into the texting thing, predictive text asks me if I want to do a Woot with an exclamation point after it.
Oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing ever. That's so awesome. And when you're typing in wood, does it autocorrect to Woot? Because mine does.
No, not yet.
That's when you know you've hit the Woot.
Know. I aspire to get to Pollyanna Amazing levels.
I don't know.
Of wootiness.
The Woot of Wootiness. I'm the queen of Woot.
The queen of Woot. Get your Woot together, and that's the God's honest Woot. Speaking Woot to power.
Woot on now.
That's right. The
We could
woot shall set you free. Do you promise to tell the woot, the whole woot, and nothing but the woot?
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be off the chain. Anyway,
You listen to that band, Wusted Woot? I'm a blue way, I'm a blue
for the Wu Tang Clan.
Wu Tang Clan. They're for the children. And they're also nothing to fuck with.
Truth. Serious faces. You like that? Truth. Yeah. For those who can't see my serious face and who are listening to this on audio only, check out the YouTube video. It's way better.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway, what we're going to talk about today is pleasure. What's your pleasure?
What's your pleasure? I like all sorts of pleasure. I'm a fan. I'm not quite a full-on hedonist, but have fun, be yourself is kind of my thing. So pleasure. I mean, a good cup of coffee, a back rub, nice architecture.
Look at you.
Right.
When I mention pleasure, that's one of the things I'm trying to dispel is the myth of pleasure. When you say pleasure, people are like, oh, are you talking about sex? You're talking about doing it, fucking, whatever it is.
That's also very pleasurable.
Sure it is, but it's not the only one. And your comment about Kurt Vonnegut just cemented my thought of that, because we are here for experiences. We're out for the experience. And if you can have pleasure, and I like
sometimes being sad.
For sure.
Can be pleasurable, because sometimes you're supposed to be sad for a little while. Some shit will happen and my friends will apologize, like, man, I'm sorry, I'm kind of down. I'm like, bro, you just went through a bunch of shit.
Right.
Be sad, enjoy that as much as you can. It's what makes us humans. As much as I like to be a Vulcan in the streets and a Klingon in the sheets, you still have to, and you remember, this is one of the things that the Star Trek movie reboot got right, is Vulcans aren't unfeeling, uncaring monsters. They have a lot of emotions, and they had to get control of it so they didn't kill everybody.
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference. There's a difference between being, a sociopath and having emotions and being sensitive and having to get a fucking handle on it so you don't burn the whole world down every day.
Yeah, I agree with that. And who says sociopath, right? Like, who's the judge? Who's the jury, right?
Yeah, listen.
Right.
We put labels on things, but we obscure the things.
Yeah, we're label makers.
We like to have a slot.
We don't do. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about how you got to be an activist. What was it that made you? Was it your passion just for marijuana, or was there something deeper about that?
I come from a long line of activists. My parents were both Panthers and activists for a bunch of things when I was a kid. So it's always made sense to me. I was in the Peace and Freedom Club in high school. And then I started smoking pot in college. And I was like, man, this shit is great. Why is anybody going to jail? I mean, but listen, I still remember in 6th grade, we did we were having like a model UN or some sort of mock debate or something. My position was, why can't Colombia sell us cocaine? They don't have any money anyway. They need the money. People are going to do cocaine, throwing people in jail. It's dumb for this shit. And that was 6th grade. And my teacher was staring at me. I was like, bro, get your shit together. So I've been on that train for a long time. And one of the things that I enjoy about cannabis activism is that you get to kind of kill two birds with one stone. You know what I mean? Right. So you legalize weed, you're keeping people out of jail, you're keeping police from harassing mostly minorities, you're keeping people from losing jobs or losing housing for things like this. You are helping smaller businesses. Supposedly, California is fucking it all up, but Oregon and Washington and Oklahoma and Colorado, a lot of places that seem to do it okay. But there's a lot of different causes that can be helped simply by legalizing cannabis or legalizing drugs. And so that's how I got into it. And also, cannabis activists generally have the best weed.
Truth. So
right? It's cannabis activists, right. Then it's comedians, then it's jugglers, and then it's ultimate frisbee players. Musicians are surprisingly 5th.
You are really leaving out a huge population of medical professionals.
I can't say I've smoked a lot of weed with a lot of medical professionals, but you might be right.
Well,
it's like doing psychedelics with the cats from the what are they called? MAPS, the multidisciplinary something psychedelic studies
Oh
thingy.
yeah, for
Those guys
sure.
always have the state of the art psychedelic chemicals. Like, we changed 3 molecules on this one. Here, try that. It's not illegal. You can argue it. You can argue it in court. This is MDA7. It's not MDAA or whatever.
Oh,
That's the thing that they're doing now too, right? Because it's not. So they're getting around this whole Delta 9 THC is the one that is listed on the DEA schedule of prescribed drugs or bad drugs. But no, this is Delta 8. This is Delta 10. So you still get stoned like it's weed, but you can argue that it's not illegal because they've only specified Delta 9 THC.
isn't that amazing? Again, labels.
Labels.
Put a label on it.
The letter of the law, sir.
That's right. Let's see, who can we make objectified by all of this?
You know, it's
Labeling.
all control issues.
It's totally-
Where do you find pleasure?
Where do I find pleasure? Like brilliant conversation, meeting people who text me woot first off. It's it. No, I find pleasure in seeing people really truly understand what I'm saying. Like if it's a difficult, because in my realm of work, I'm a nurse practitioner. So I see patients of every walk of life, every age, what have you. And to be able to communicate with somebody who maybe even from a different country, regardless of their age, and for them to look at me and shake their head and say, I understand. Thank you for helping me. Dude, that makes my day. That's
so connection and communication.
Absolutely. Connection.
Getting your point across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And telling people what to do.
And being right. You like to be right all the time.
Yeah. I don't have to be right all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, no, not all the time.
Mm-hmm. What do you do when you're wrong?
I really try to learn from that experience and then put it in my back pocket and never look at it again.
Do you ever admit it? You be like,
oh yeah, for sure. No, totally. I've been wrong several times. I've been married 3 times.
Several whole times.
That's
like 4. Maybe 5. How many is several?
Multiple. How about that? Multiple times.
You were married 3 times.
Yeah. You know, when the shoe doesn't fit, sometimes you have to.
I got married once and I've pretty much been single since then.
Yeah. Well, there's not that, as long as you're in a relationship to which every partner and person in it, which is you, believes you, then you're good.
There you go.
That's it. You have
I get it.
My favorite quote is, if you are real with yourself, you can never be offended. And I take that to heart. I know who I am and I know how I feel. And other people may have their opinions, but I'm going to hang on to this one for as long as I can mentally. Hang on to my own ability to make decisions. That's where we're going to be. But so you were talking about going to Berlin for this in 2022. Tell me about. First, I want to ask you about how's the pandemic really cut into your ability to connect with people, because that's got to be really tough.
Listen, no smoking weed with strangers,
right?
No hugging strangers, right? It's all fist bumps now, and I'm a hugger. And threesomes. We need more threesomes. We can't just be having random threesomes. This is the closest I've been to monogamy in a really long time.
Oh wow! So
the closest,
right? Right. I have a lot of people out there who enjoy the open, relationship lifestyle, and they have.
You don't say, Pollyanna amazing.
Sure, I do say.
Yeah.
Nice coffee mug, by the way.
You probably think this mug is about you. For those who you can't see, it's a coffee mug with my face on it.
I was going to say, it's not even mean mugging, but just.
No, I'm glad mugging.
You were glad mugging on there.
I'm happy mugging you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually, that's my smirk. So I'm really smug mugging.
Oh, you're smug mugging. Okay. That's going to be a new hashtag for you. Smug
mug.
Hashtag it's my pleasure. Anyway, so the cannabis international thing that you were talking about.
The International Cannabis Business Conference Series.
Thank you. It makes it sound much more important when you throw business in it.
Yes.
But I can't imagine that it's all business. Let's talk about that.
It is almost all business.
Is it really?
Well, I mean, we throw crazy after parties. We had Cannabis One, we've had Del Funky Homo Sapien, we had Damian Marley last time we were in Barcelona. So we throw a good party with DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill has done a bunch of stuff with us.
Yeah.
I've done some comedy, of course, and I'm the MC.
Nice.
Cannabis is bigger. We always, even in legal states, you tend to think of cannabis as a relatively small industry, even though it makes $800 million in taxes or whatnot. But you think
Right.
of smaller farms, you think of this and that.
Mhm.
But it is becoming more and more the agricultural commodity that it kind of could have been
Right.
before prohibition. But that creates its own challenges. So now Canada is growing a shit ton of weed. They're actually selling it to Germany, right? Israel sells weed to Germany. South Africa is trying to get into the selling weed to Germany.
Mhm.
Malta has wanted to get into selling weed to Germany thing for years and years. And this is all come around. Germany just started itself on a path to legalize. Zurich is looking at, or Switzerland is looking at legalization in the next probably 3 to 5 years. Spain is decriminalized and they're maybe moving toward a model. The Netherlands are looking at a model. Portugal is has decriminalized all drugs, and all their drug abuse things have gone way down. People should be doing it, but anyway.
Right.
So it's a way for people to come in from all over the world. My homie Alex Rogers, who started it, was really ahead of the curve on this. And so we get people from all over the world, from Africa countries, from American countries, from South America, from Canada. We used to do one in Vancouver as well, from all over, and they come and they talk and they interact, and you talk about, because if it's a state legalization or something, it's relatively easy. But when it's international, then all of a sudden you have to have international agreements, and the EU wants to do a certain thing, and America wants to do a certain thing, and Canada wants to do a thing. And there's already practices where they're called like, I can't remember what they're called, like accepted best practices. There's some jargon for it that they all throw around at the fucking thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to do edibles, then that's novel foods. Now you got to work this whole thing out. If you want to ship weed from Canada to Germany, you have to be insured against nuclear missile attack, and random shit. And I tell these guys all the time, it's not fucking yellow grade uranium. Right? It's just weed. People have weed all the time. But I would really like it to happen sooner rather than later, so I could go to my local weed store and buy some fucking Moroccan hash, because that would be the shit. Because Moroccan hash is delicious and old school, and you don't really get Moroccan hash. And you can make Moroccan style hash, but it wouldn't be the same, right? If it's not grown in the weed fields of Morocco, then it's just sparkling concentrates. That would just be cool, right? Like, I mean, you can buy California weed in Spain for a whole lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like buying fancy French wine out here, right? Oh, this is from Bordeaux. It's going to cost you blah, 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 blah. This is from Napa. It's going to cost you so much money. I was like, I could just drive up and get some. I actually wanted to smoke your Spanish weed because I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to get your vibe on the weed. That's the thing. When you go to Kentucky now, or you go to other places, you'd be like, let me buy some weed. They'll be like, all right, man, I'll sell you some weed. Oh, man, this is delicious. Where's it from? California. Ah, shit. I could have brought you some. Right? That's from Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a friend who is he's a congressman, state representative, who is in the state of Kentucky, who is trying to really bulk up on hemp production. Like, that's natural for the area. Kentucky
makes perfect sense.
It totally does.
Get away from tobacco.
Well, right. And also, it's a money-making thing. You can clothing, rope, soap, you name it. There's a product out there made from hemp that you can make plastic out of.
Hemp can save the planet.
It totally could. And so that whole jargon you were talking about, the legalization, it's all in some higher lawyer person's ability to write out that jargon.
Yeah, and people who have lots of money stick their lawyers on it and try to make themselves the best deal, which is not always, free market economics, but capitalism loves to capitalize. So, and that's one of the challenges, and that's one of the things we also push in the International Cannabis Business Conference series, though, more than a lot of other cannabis business conferences, is we try to remind people that cannabis legalization is a social justice movement before it was $1 billion capitalist enterprise. And let's not forget that. The most important thing is keeping people out of jail. The most important thing is letting people smoke weed. You don't want to create a legalization where it's just a different form of prohibition, where only certain people are allowed to do certain things. Like in Washington, there's a big fight over home growing. And why can't you grow some weed at your house? You can make beer at your fucking house. You can put up a still in your backyard. They don't give a shit. You should be able to grow 4 or 5 or 6 plants, and people are going to do it anyway. You're not stopping anybody.
Right. You're just trying to throw a charge at somebody once you get there.
Making law-abiding people into criminals.
I agree. And alcohol, I will speak from the my voice of being an ER nurse for over 20 years, working night shift, and never once got beat up by somebody smoking weed. Never.
No, you could even ask cops. They'll tell you, like when I talk to cops at hemp fests and weed fests and stuff, I'm like, this is way better than a drunken rock concert, isn't it? And they're always like, yeah, man, it is actually pretty mellow, very cool. You got any more snacks?
Yeah, right. But the work that THC, cannabis, what have you, does for PTSD, Alzheimer's. My mother has Alzheimer's. She's been for 10 years. Almost 10 years. She was diagnosed. I give her CBD because I think, and she's maintained pretty well. I can't say that she's, at the top of her class any longer. But she's been able to maintain at a level, unlike her siblings who weren't so lucky to be able to do that, because she had 3 other siblings that had Alzheimer's.
Wow.
It's
Sorry,
it's all
terrifying.
Good. Because I did my 23andMe so I could find out where it came from.
Sure.
You've
got all of her DNA.
I definitely have.
Your dad didn't even put it in any.
All right.
It's just like parthenogenesis.
No, dude. Well, you have the my dad died from melanoma when I was 20, right? So you have skin cancer to die from, or bowel cancer, or Alzheimer's to look forward to.
Yeah.
So whatever it is.
My mom had they had found like a lump or something, and they were like, we're going to test it. And she's like, my family doesn't die of cancer. We die of heart attacks and high blood pressure. Don't even worry about it. And she was right. She died of a heart attack. But
your mom, God rest herself.
It wasn't a lie.
Yeah.
It wasn't cancer.
I've always said that I will never die from cancer because I speak the truth. I like to speak my mind. And people who pent up anxiety and anger and frustration are the people who generally, you can assume.
Is that what it is?
No, that's my.
Better start writing more angry screeds.
You should.
I mean, they do say that angry people live longer.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm jacked. It's not going to happen.
I'm generally a content person, but I do have some anger, as is to be expected, and given the current times.
It is
a
rocky climate out there. It really is.
When I was younger, there's an old Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times. And when I was younger, I was like, why is that a curse? Who wouldn't want to live in interesting times? You want to be in the mix of shit. You want shit to be. And now I'm older. I'm like, yeah, maybe we could just, relax for a year. Can everybody just chill out? Can we not have to fight all the goddamn time?
I was ready to pack up and move to a commune somewhere, or build my own commune.
Sure.
San Juan Island would be perfect, just so you know. Madrona trees and
yeah. I have some places I can go in case of zombie apocalypse, but I'm still of the age where I think I can still make a difference, and so I'm not ready to retire to the commune yet.
I was ready. The last few months I've been ready, but
it's hard not to want to. But we try to think of the bodhisattva where they postpone their own enlightenment until everyone else is enlightened.
Well, just to enlighten you, I am on the path of the bodhisattva and have been. You amaze me every time you open your mouth, I swear.
That's because you can't smell my breath from where you are. You'd probably be amazed still, but in a different way. Because it smells like weed and coffee. I don't know what you were thinking.
Oh, well, I don't know. Medical professionals, I never take anything for face value.
I'm sure you've smelled some horrible breath.
Oh, my Jesus.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Oh, yeah. What's that, an abscess? Yeah, you should probably get that looked at.
I was like, yeah. No, listen, once you do work in the medical field, I can smell strep. I can smell
Yeah.
cancer. I can, yeah, for sure.
You know what it smells like?
I know what yeast smells
You'd be like, that smells like chlamydia. You should really get it looked at.
Oh, no, you look like you got gonorrhea. You need to walk away. Anyway.
You even look like, right. I used to do a bit about this COVID thing. It makes it difficult because it can be asymptomatic. Like a lot of the other ones are easy. Like hepatitis, just don't fuck anybody with yellow eyes. It's very simple, right? Everybody's got HPV. Fuck it. You can wear a condom for the HIV. It's cool. But what do you do? Like you take her to dinner. If she can't taste the dessert, take her home. Like if you can't taste her pussy, get back in your car. Like I don't know how it works because you can't always tell.
You cannot always tell. So
the CDC recommended like doggy style or reverse cowgirl, or like just try to keep your faces apart. And they also recommended a barrier. They're like, try to have a barrier. And I was like, are y'all bringing back the glory hole? The CDC recommends a glory hole. So now I got to build one at the house.
Yeah, really, honestly, mail slot in the front door. I mean,
they're usually lower to the ground. I'm 6'3". I'm not trying to.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you could put it right by the door knocker. Who knows?
You could put it right by the door knocker. Hello. I knocked on. You know that joke? It's a terrible joke. I'm going to tell you the joke anyway.
Go ahead, tell me, Joe.
Woman posts an ad in the personals. This is back in the day. It was Craigslist and whatnot. Says, I want a man, won't beat me, won't run around on me, must be good in bed. She posts the ad. A couple days later, she gets a knock on the door. There's a guy there, no arms, no legs, right? Sitting in his wheelchair. He's like, hey, I'm here to be your boyfriend. And she goes, what are you talking about? He goes, well, I got no arms. I can't beat you. I got no legs. I can't run around on you. She goes, what about the good in bed part? He goes, well, I rang the doorbell, didn't I?
Ding dong.
Ding dong. You can ring my bell. Ring my bell.
My bell. That's right. I love that song. Anyway, let's move on. So let's talk about.
When was the last time you had your bell rung? No, sorry. Go ahead. Let's talk about
7:30 this morning. Anyway. We're like, have you ever seen those? Have you seen a bell choir before? We were in like this is terrible to say, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir of bell choirs. Strike that. Let's not use that. But
you wear the fancy underwear when you're getting your bell rung? Is that? I don't even know what that would mean.
It's just angelic. That's all.
Yeah. Sure. Sweet mystery of life.
That whole that's what it is. Anyway, past that. So the International Cannabis Business
Conference.
Moving past that.
We'll be in Barcelona in
wait a minute, say Barcelona. Is it Barcelona?
Barcelona.
La
ciudad de Barcelona tiene.
It's one of my favorite things ever. Okay, so we're past that.
Yo estoy en la plaza. La plaza de Barcelona.
I absolutely love it. I may even show up.
I was hanging out with my friend.
This is so much fun.
Jose Maria Olazabal.
Oh,
he's a golfer. Jose Maria Olazabal.
Oh my gosh.
¿Hablas español?
Un poquito.
Poquito, sí. Sí. Yo también. Suficiente para comer y fumar.
I can listen, but my rest back.
Sure.
No bueno.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Necesitas que practicar. Anyway, what was your next topic? I'm a rambler. I'm full of coffee and sativa, so
it's all right. I am a fly by the seat of the pants kind of gal, so we'll just keep going with this. Let's hit on. You were talking about threesomes earlier. We're talking about pleasure. Subject change. Hey, was that subtle or
what did you have in mind?
Threesome. Anyway,
you say a twosome? We'll start with 2, then we move up to 3.
So anyway, I take it that because you are in the comedic lifestyle and you are uncoupled at the moment, that that the lifestyle is a source of pleasure for you. Is that something that
I do enjoy traveling around and telling jokes and smoking weed.
Yeah.
And sometimes having adventures.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. We here on Buried Pleasures like to to discuss the things that most people are afraid to discuss. So,
like threesomes? Why would someone be afraid to discuss a threesome?
Sexuality and let's talk pleasure. Anyway, pleasure.
By the way, listen to my 2 albums. I have one called Weed and Sex,
Yeah.
and I have another one called Weedier and Sexier. And I'm working on my 3rd album, of course, right now, which will be Weediest and Sexiest. Yeah. And then the 4th album, I'll probably be kind of old, so just be like, let me just get high and look at it.
Could you go ahead and turn the light off?
I mean, I like to do that anyway. I can do that anyway. That's better than Netflix.
True. So when you're out traveling, do it well before pre-pandemic. Let's talk.
Sure.
Let me get back on track. Pre-pandemic, when you were out and about as your comedic amazing self and also being an activist, did you find it did you have like groupies?
Huh?
Did you have yeah?
I don't know about groupies. Groupies implies that
they follow you around. Mm-hmm.
But they don't just follow you around, like they follow the scene around or whatever. You know what I mean? Right? They're just into
like you don't know any
bands.
comedian bunnies that are
they're called chuckle fuckers.
What are they called? Chuckle fuckers. Oh my God. I had no idea.
Yeah. Baseball lannies, band groupies, chuckle fuckers. Yeah.
Chuckle fuckers.
Chuckle
All
fuckers.
right.
I did not make up that name.
Mind blown. Okay. So you have some
I've definitely met some people. I've definitely had some adventures for sure. Yeah, more than once, even. Some good times. I'm not out there like that's not the reason I'm out on the road telling jokes.
Right.
These days.
It may have.
But I've also made a lot of good friends that way too. Like we started out maybe, with a fling or whatnot, but 15, 20 years later, we're still homies. We still, kick it, not necessarily in a physical manner, but if I'm in town, we have, meal, chop it up.
Right.
Talk about life, do some things.
I think that is the best way. It's, breaking up with somebody and that sort of thing is a shitty time. It's never a great time unless it is a great time. But when that happens,
what do you mean by breaking up?
Like, no, I'm talking about relationships. When you're in a relationship, like your relationship that you had with these people was, it is what it is. And then for you to be able to continue your friendship, it's pretty phenomenal because not everybody can do that. They're really jealous.
No. Some people don't want to do that for sure.
No,
but,
and it's cool.
I generally try not to have sex with people I don't like.
Really?
Now, if I hate you, it's different. But if I just don't like you.
I was super waiting for that.
That was a joke, everyone.
Oh, yeah, right. I really do appreciate that joke because there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there who enjoy the monogamous lifestyle, and I applaud them to the nth degree.
Good luck.
Good luck. I had I had some experiences in my life that men cheated, women cheated, however that worked. It's just a tough way to go. But you have to, it's like you were saying about experiences. You have to be in the moment of that experience and keep moving. You're just going. It's not like you're going out to pet a dog. You're going out to get a cup of coffee, whatever, stamps.
Right.
It's just
creating a space. Yeah, no, I definitely had to accept it years and years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
That I am terrible at monogamy, and there's nothing that's gonna fix that.
It's not necessarily human.
And it's not a problem. I'm not broken.
Right.
I'm just not monogamous.
But you know what? For a lot of people, that means you're broken, right? No. So that's one of the things that I tried to dispel here.
As long as you're honest about it, don't be leading people on. Don't be ridiculous. Like I tell people all the time, like I'm single. They're like, you're a player. I'm like, no, I'm single. Everybody knows that I'm single, and I like to be single. and I'm really good at being single. And we could kick it, we could do it, we could not do it. We go, I love dates. I love to hang out. I love to chop it up.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just like to hang out and do the things. But it's not, and if that's what you want to do, that's cool. And if that's not what you want to do, that's cool too. We could just be Instagram buddies and send each other playlists or whatever. It doesn't, none of that is a thing. I just don't want, what they call informed consent. Everybody going, knowing what to expect, knowing what's
Correct.
going on so that there's no surprises, nobody's lying. And you get more sex if you don't lie than you do if you do lie.
This is true. Although I think in my case, I could lie. I could just do about anything. And I'm not going to get any different of an experience one way or the other, in my opinion, just because I have been there, and it doesn't matter what you do. Or
also, dudes are weird.
Dudes are weird.
Dudes are weird.
What's wrong with you guys? No.
We don't have time. We're only talking for another 40, 45 minutes. We don't have time to get into what's wrong with dudes. We've been trained a whole lot of different ways.
Some have had no home training
as they come, and I definitely, you have to unlearn some things, especially when you're 50, right? The ways that masculinity, you have to learn. We don't really teach dudes how to be quote unquote men.
You're right.
Right. You kind of have to learn it. And sometimes the people who are trying to teach you what it means aren't very good at it. So you kind of have to find the spot for yourself. You have to find how you can bring healthy male energy into any particular scene or space without being an asshole about it.
True.
Right. Especially Americans. We like to, fucking Americans. Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Hoorah. But you have to learn to smooth that out. And you have to learn what it means.
Yeah, I got you. I know recently, because I have these teenage kids around every now and again.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You must have no food in the house.
I'm almost done. Yeah. No, I have my 16-year-old female is the only one left. And she only eats tuna fish and rice. And
you had an Asian child?
Well, actually, my husband's Japanese.
Oh, well, so you did.
No, but she's not.
So you did.
She's the palest ginger you ever saw.
That's nature versus nurture right there.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. So, yeah. But one of the things that I've tried with my kids as of lately is probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Changing the locks? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, actually putting the locks on the outsides of their doors. I got rid of 2 of them. One's in college. One's on his own. We're all good right now. But is the definition of relationship, right? So if I'm going to be this open and honest person, what am I supposed to teach my kids, right? And listening to my daughter, she's went out on New Year's Eve, right? The 16-year-old, she went to go to a friend's house and they were going to have boys over, whatever. And, the thought was, do I worry about her having sex or, what do I do? What's the words of wisdom from your sex educator mom? What should I tell you?
I'll tell you what my dad told me. Spit don't make babies.
What a gentleman. I love that.
He's a genius. That shit got me through college.
Yeah. So my daughter's telling me that I call her, of course, I'm sure that they're 16-year-olds. They were doing shots or something. I'm sure of it. Whatever. But no, they're not, Mom. It's just not drinking. But I said, what are you guys doing? Oh, just laying around, all together. And in my mind, I'm like, if I would have told my parents that I'm just laying around on couches with boys and girls at the same time. And again, my daughter has not declared her sexuality to me.
Sure,
she talks about boys all the time, whatever. But I'm just like, okay, are you feeling safe? Or are you feeling loved? And that's what I asked. Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling loved? And she said, yeah, we're good. I'm like, cool. Have a great time.
Booyaka.
That's a wonderful thing to be able to do, right? Like,
it is.
To remove myself from the thought of, I can already tell you that she lied to me about a lot of things that she did that night.
They're young adults.
Right. But I need to put my mindset in that? No, I don't want to hang my hat on that mindset.
I feel sometimes a lot like this younger generation. What are they? The Z's or the Zoomers?
I don't even know anymore.
Whatever they are.
What are we? We're X.
They don't place as much emphasis on doing it that we do.
I know.
It doesn't even, I my son is 20 and my daughter's 23,
Mhm.
and I love them a lot, and they're beautiful kids. I have no idea what they like. They never bring a girl or anything. My
Right.
son is like the most private person I've ever met.
Yeah.
When he was trying to decide to go to college, like his mom and I were like, he's like, I want a small college, blah blah blah. Like, hey, there's some nice ones in Portland, there's some nice ones in Seattle. He was like,
Yeah.
no, they have to be far enough away that y'all can't just show up on
They're gonna be
some
on the
random
East Coast.
shit. You can't just be like, dude, I'm in Portland, come on out. It's like, no.
Oh my God.
I gotta
But
do
think
my
about it from
own
his perspective when kids say, oh, yeah, what's your dad do? Oh, oh,
Oh, well, it's been
oh.
like that since 7th or 8th grade, since ninth grade or whatever. Dude, your dad was smoking weed with Doug Benson on some random
Yeah, right.
MTV. Yeah, that's what your dad does. I saw your dad's Purple Onion set. Oh my God. Right?
Love your purple onion set. I do.
Everybody check out my YouTube channel, Ngaio420. I just got a new interview with my boy Greg Proops on my new podcast, which is called Chopping It Up with Ngaio. Okay, sorry for the promo. Go ahead.
No, please promote yourself. I mean, you're
Follow
only
me on all the Instagrams and the social medias, Ngaio420. That's Ngaio420. Why? Because there are 419 other Ngaios.
Ngaio. That was a
Ngaio.
great plug.
Thank you. If I had $1.
Do you have $1? Just kidding.
Do you need $1? 'Cause I'll cash app you right now.
I just got a cash app the other day.
Hey. My cash app is $Ngaio420, as well as Venmo at Ngaio420. And if you need to send me something on PayPal, slide into the DMs. We can talk about it.
Oh man, look at you.
Hey, my
Always
OnlyFans is Sativa Dominant.
What? You have an OnlyFans?
I have like one picture on it. I haven't even started charging anybody money. I go back and forth. I don't know. Should I start an OnlyFans or should I start a weird, super specific sex site like chubmissives.com or something?
Chuckle missives. Yeah.
No, not chuckle missives. Chub missives.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chucklefuckers.com, although there probably is one now.
Chuckle missives. There you go.
Chucklefuckers.com, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know who wants to watch somebody fuck a comedian.
There might
true
be
what they say about
you hang around
Milton Berle.
I'm sure that you're familiar with people who would like that.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, you know.
And I smoke the eighth.
Is that the Delta 8?
Yeah, the Delta 8. Woo.
Oh my God, you're too much fun. Listen, okay, so let's move on. And
we're
talk
still
about-
dressed.
This isn't OnlyFans. Fans only. What is it?
Well, there's OnlyFans. There's Fansly.
Oh my gosh.
There's mini vids. There's so many different ways. To
Mini
do it.
vids. Man,
MANYVIDs. So I've heard.
I need to talk to you more often so I can get up to date. These conversations are only going to help me to talk to other people.
We're here to help. I hope it brings you pleasure.
Oh my gosh. And you have your Gandalf pipe. I'm
Gandalf the Black.
This is perfect. Perfect. Well, anyway, moving on. So on a scale of 0 to 10, that's my pleasure scale I like to talk about.
Okay.
Where would you be at right now on your pleasure scale?
Well, I'm very pleased. I'm probably like an 8.5.
What?
Maybe an 8.75.
What would make your pleasure better?
Maybe if someone was rubbing my feet right now, or if my coffee was warmer.
Got you.
But it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, I've never really thought about it that way.
Well, that's how you think about
really
it.
just kind of, why would you put it on a scale? Please, displease. Content is content. Pleasure is pleasure.
Well, on a scale to get people to initially how to figure out what they think is pleasure, right? I like for people to define pleasure for me.
Every day is a good day. Every moment is a perfect moment. I'll tell you a story.
Tell me a story.
15, 18, something years ago, back when I was in a band.
What kind of band?
Urban Mind Expansion, which means hip hop live band. Most Chill Slack Bob. There's some videos running around. You can find us on Spotify. The album is like 15 years old, so but it holds up. I'm proud of every one of those units. But we were sitting, what was it? The Temple Bar in Santa Monica is the name of the bar, and we're upstairs in like the green room, VIP room. And I say we, it's like me, and a bunch of other mid-20s, 30s, early 40s African American people, men, women, all, neo-souled up, drinking, smoking, having a great time, chopping it up. There's maybe 15 or 20 of us, and we're just kicking it. It was like a beautiful, beautiful time, right? And one person goes, man, this is a perfect moment, right? And me being all zen, I'm like, every moment is a perfect moment. And he goes, yeah, but this is an easily recognizable perfect moment. I was like, exactly. Because sometimes you can't recognize that this is still a perfect moment, even though it's ass and not in a good way right now. But you just have to accept that for what it is and create the perfection out of it. So I was like, thank you for the lesson.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
I do like an easily recognizable perfect moment, though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the moment that you wooed me, I was done for. Perfect.
Easily recognizable.
And then the path of the Bodhisattva for me. Also.
That could be
mentor,
a huge self-delusion. It's weird when you say things like that to other people. Like, I'm trying to help everyone else as well as myself, that we can all get there together.
Right. And so just, my mentor, David Ward Erickson, she is who enlightened me about the path of the Bodhisattva and all of the wonderful things that are Tantra. And I really appreciate it. She's a pretty awesome chick.
It's good to have
wants to be
a path or a code or an ethos or whatever.
Right. Well, growing up in Bible thumping Kentucky.
The buckle of the Bible Belt.
For sure.
Y'all foot washing? Were you allowed to play cards? Was it anal sex
we were
only?
Not allowed to play cards. We were not allowed to wear pants.
No.
Or on the farm we could, but or out and about.
Yes.
But my grandpa built a church and everything.
Right. It was only like anal sex till college.
No.
I'm kidding.
No.
You're saying with the virginity.
Virginity. It's Kentucky.
Oh, man ain't good enough for his own family. What's that? Any woman ain't good enough for her own family.
Gosh. The terrible jokes. They're terrible.
They're terrible.
They are. It's all right, though.
I forgot. Your brother has the truck.
Oh.
I'm not even going to tell you that joke on the air.
Thanks.
You have to see me in person.
I'm awfully kind to a point.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what do you see in your future? What's going to be your what's your legacy?
What, TV funny man Ngaio Bealum found dead in his bathroom? I don't know. I just, campfire rules always in full effect. Generally, I try to be that kind of person. More activism, more jokes, podcasts. I'm a fairly simple cat. I just want to travel around and tell jokes and smoke weed. So whatever I can do to create that is what I do. So if that means that I have to write articles for Leafly or the San Francisco Chronicle or SAC News and Review, which I do, then I'm going to do that. If it means I need to find some more sponsors for my podcast, we need sponsors for my podcast. Find me on the
I just found out I have a sponsor today.
Congratulations. Right, do you want to give your sponsor a mention on the air, or is it a secret?
I think it's a secret yet, but I mean, who cares? It's CBD Stat. It's a company out of Vermont run by some phenomenal women and discounted prices for medical professionals. That's what I like. In all this CBD Stat.
STAT, like CBD right away.
Right now.
Stat.
Right now.
That's medical jargon.
Right now. Right. Yeah. That's what we all do, right? But
stat. Have you ever said stat in your personal life?
Yeah. Motherfucking stat right now.
Bring me my coffee, fucking stat. Now, is stat short for something? Like, where did the phrase stat show up in the medical community?
That's
what's the etymology?
I really honestly, did you say entomology?
Etymology. It's the etymology. Etymology is bugs. Etymology is bugs.
So I'm going to need you to research the answer to this and come back on the show. Or better yet, how about this? I'll come on your show.
You're going to come on my show?
If you make me.
I don't know if I can make you, but I can make you want to.
Aww.
Or help you want to.
That would be awesome.
Come on my show.
Oh my gosh. Now we are going to have to discuss the medical reason why
The safe words. Oh, I'm sorry.
Armageddon.
The boundaries and safe
Armageddon.
That's not first word though, is it?
Armageddon.
Second word is apocalyptic dystopia. Dystopian apocalypse. Dystopian apocalypse.
Years ago, this probably he's probably in his 70s, 70-year-old security guard that I worked with at hospital on night shift sends me this email with this link to, like, it was a radio show. So they were talking about, it's supposed to be like in the vein of an old timey radio show. Okay. And they were talking about how it was read as a news report, basically, like flash, this is this and this is that, that kind of thing. And the basic gist of it is that somebody was filching using a felching. How do you say that?
Well, the gerbil. Two different meanings.
Gerbil.
Felching. Filching is to still. Felching is to.
Thank you.
Do things.
Felching. Thank you for that clarification. But anyway, so the thing is that the gerbil gets stuck in there. So the other person gets a lighter and apparently he's looking for the gerbil in the tube and the gas pocket inside shoots out. And so safe word Armageddon. Armageddon. It's a funny thing. I'll send it to you. You'll laugh.
Were you ever an ER nurse?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. So you've seen all manner of insertions.
I have.
Constipations.
I'm going to text you some pictures.
Impacted bungholes.
For sure. The sad and the funny of that, all of it.
It's like, what's wrong with you? You just need to shit. That's your problem. You'll feel so much better.
The sad and the funny of it all basically is just that, you are the only person that people can tell their secrets to sometimes.
Sure.
And so when that happens, like, hey, I'm stuck. My mom was out of town, so I was using her dildo in her top drawer. I need help. Yeah. Slide you a note, right? And I think that's how I kind of got into wanting to teach people about.
You don't stop and say it really loud. Oh my God, you have a dildo stuck in here.
No, but if you're really quiet, sometimes you can hear it.
Wow.
Well, when they sit on those metal beds, it's still vibrating. And this is not to poke fun at people who are trying to explore themselves.
Did you say poke fun?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
always with the jokes over here. But anyway, those are the people that made me want to do better. Like, that was my bridge to communicate with people, was to be like, oh, okay. So
make fun of them when they have stuff stuck in their butt.
Listen, what we do at the station is nobody's business but our own. But
at all.
But in front of people,
you and the ring light.
Right. It's one of those things where if you wanted to put a hairspray can in your vagina, then I need to know, do you need help?
Styling your pubic hair?
Was it an accident? Well, did somebody not teach you to use implements? I mean, like, there are toys out there. They're safer, more reliable sources. Right. Yeah. Things that are not
going to. You don't go play golf with a rake.
True. And you don't really. Well, I was going to say something terrible, but I'm just going to say that.
Tell me in person.
Totally. But the great thing about what I am seeing in this interview, and from what I saw with your videos and your cooking with cannabis show, totally awesome. I went to a cannabis kind of a conference in Lima, Ohio, by the way.
Sure.
If you've never been to Lima,
I've never been.
Well,
to Lima.
They have the original Kewpie, which is the original Wendy's, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But there's a really cool dude up there who is running a collective, and he's all about making sure that people know that cannabis can be good for you. It's good for the community, especially in Ohio, which most states have issues with drug abuse and addiction issues.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's one of the realms that I have worked into, addiction medicine, trying to find a way to make something that is just that simple, a little drink of THC, a little smoke of THC, a little whatever infused, whatever you want to do.
Studies have definitely shown that cannabis, as opposed to being a gateway to harder drugs, is a pathway from harder drugs, for sure.
I believe that.
And
I believe that.
What's the new phrase now? California sober?
Yeah.
All you do is smoke weed. Like, I don't do any of those other drugs, man. I just smoke a little weed on occasion.
Again.
It's California sober.
And that's it. And people just need to know that there's places out there that you can learn about cannabis safety and the benefits of cannabis and the benefits of cannabis in food. That was what I was initially intentionally trying to talk about.
My weed doctor is always after me to eat more weed food. I don't eat a lot of weed food. She's like, it's better for you. It goes all through the whole thing and do the whole body. I'm like, I just like to smoke weed. She's like, no, you need to eat some weed.
Maybe you need to eat some weed. Maybe your liver would appreciate it.
My liver probably would appreciate it, actually.
Look at that.
I'm sure my spleen.
You're great. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure having you on.
It has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for letting me come on your show.
What? You're welcome. You're so welcome. But again, let's do your social media shout out. Put all
NGAIO 420, Ngaio 420 on all the social medias. That's the Instagram and the Twitter mostly, but I do lurk on the Snapchat, and I pretend to have a TikTok, but I really, really don't. You can find my new podcast. You can listen to my old podcast, Rolling with Ngaio, at cannabisradio.com. You can find my new podcast probably, I don't know when this is airing, so probably a week from whenever you heard this, on all your regular podcast streaming things, or you can go to my YouTube channel, Ngaio 420, Ngaio, Ngaio was his name, Ngaio 420, and find all those things. And my website, Ngaio420.com, will probably be up in the next couple of days. I'm just finishing it.
Oh my gosh, that was a lot of info.
Well, I've done a lot of things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just a few?
I'm old enough where I've had some experiences.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I mentioned your name to a few certain people, my friend James, as a matter of fact, he's a 20-something. He helps me do some editing sometimes. He was so geeked about you being on here.
Shout out to James for being geeked for me being on the show.
He's such a little sweetheart. But anyway, you can find me just about anywhere. No, buriedpleasures.com. You can find me on any of the podcasting platforms. Look us up, Buried Pleasures. And I'm also on Instagram. I have a TikTok. I have all of those things. So look at my link tree on Twitter. It's there. That's what I like to say. There's too many things. But if you really want to get me, woot me up.
Woot woot.
Ngaio, thank you so much for being on here. It's
Pollyanna, amazing. Thank you so much for having me on.
You are welcome. Woot. And to
Woot,
all
you're welcome as well.
We're going to keep wooting as we go out. Oh my God. You woot me.
That's the God's honest woot.
So, all right, guys, have a great day. Bye.
Just Some Podcast Media.